All right, hello, and welcome back. Chase Thomas Podcast, taping this on a Thursday evening. Old friend Corban Ford is here. Corban, good evening, sir. How are you?
I am doing well, Chase. How are you? I'm excited. Long time no see. I'm back. I'm happy.
I am glad we are able to make this work tonight, man. Missed doing our pods. Lauren's in just accounting hell. I'm gonna guess.
About that time you said it. Between that and Taylor Swift, those are the things.
I mean that's my wife's also a big Taylor Swift fan. Is your girlfriend a Taylor Swift fan? Is that just like part of the deal for our pods?
That and Adele. So
okay.
I think you're right. It's just those are the two.
Is Adele still making music?
Yes, I think she just did an album like this past year. Don't ask me. I mean, I'm still hello from the I'm still at that song. So, but yeah, I think she did make one this past year that girls loved. So.
And that's not a shot. It's just I'm not familiar. Never. My wife, I've always tried to get her into jazz, and it's just she's not a jazz person.
Oh wow! See, I get that. I just want some bass or percussion in mine. Give a little up tempo. But I listen to music when I work out. Like I don't really do recreational music listening. If I hear someone, okay, I'll be good to like run on the treadmill too, or something like that. So.
Interesting. I was always this is probably a very snobby way of looking at running, but I was a runner until I broke my foot in September, the week of my wedding. I was a daily runner and all that, and did it for over a decade, and did track and all that kind of stuff. And running was always my happy place. But I was I was a snob in that, like, you don't actually love running if you have to do other things to block out running. Where if you have music or podcasts or anything else, it's like, no, enjoy the nature, enjoy the sounds, enjoy the process of running. So like I was adamant about like feeling the whole thing and not doing all of that. Like
that is an interesting, like just embracing the moment, like being in the present. Yeah, I can't say I run a lot, but I can't say I love it, because if I don't have my music or anything on me, your boys, I'll still do it, but my effectiveness has gone down to like almost nil. Like,
well, you're normal. This is not a normal take I have, but this is one of those snobby takes that it's just like, no, you should feel it like that. And I'm like, because it feels like escapism, like you're running from it. Then it's like, well, that isn't. I don't apply that to everything in my life. It's not like I just focus on writing. Like when I'm writing, I have the Cognitivity app playing, so I have like a coffee shop sound in the background. Like I can't write, but I also can't read listening to stuff. Are you someone who can read with like the TV on or in a loud place? I can't do that at all.
I can read and have a podcast on. I can't listen to both fully effectively, but like it doesn't throw me off. That's interesting. But here's another twist. I do audiobooks and podcasts, right? But if the audiobooks are not nonfiction, I lose track. My brain goes somewhere else. Like I can listen to a long, boring politics audiobook and be like thoroughly engrossed. And then you give me like a really good mystery that I really want to listen to. I'm start driving, I'm listening, following along, and then my brain is, and the next thing you know, I'm like, what chapter are we on again? Weird. Yeah. So I'm kind of with you, same wavelength in terms of maybe off the beaten path, but that's not bad.
That's interesting. And I wonder that's fascinating, because I wonder if it's just because it's like the nonfiction audiobooks is just like listening to a podcast. So you're listening and it's just, you're trying to retain the information and remember. And then the fiction, it just really does get your imagination going, and then you just lose track of everything. It seems kind of dangerous.
I think that's
driving down the road and you're like, I forgot I'm driving a car, because I am that person. Where, dude, I will get into a whole thought like this podcast. Where I'm like thinking about, okay, I can ask Corban about this, or and I'm just like driving down the road 60 miles an hour, like not like mentally present for me driving. It's probably not great, but I've been doing that for years. I'll just forget I'm driving.
You make it work. Yeah, that's kind of scary, but you make it
muscle memory, Corban. Muscle memory is what you got to do there. Well, this is ostensibly a NBA podcast that we're doing here tonight, sir. And my first question to you. Are we sure Kawhi is not an MVP? Not the MVP? Why is he not in the conversation at the very least? I understand that he's not going to be in the top 3. I understand all that. But since he's come back, you look at the Clippers, you look at the minutes, it's kind of wild for me to just look at the box scores and just be like, oh, 41 minutes. Oh, 39. Paul George out. They don't fall off. Like, Kawhi is doing so much so well. And it's like one of those things where it's like the MVP race is done. And that was what Doc said this week after Joel. And then I'm like, can some people just go look at like Kawhi's like last 2 to 3 months And I understand he was on load management and stuff like that at the beginning of the year. But it's like a different MVP award for me, where I'm like, the current MVP or like the last 2 to 3 month MVP, I just look around and I'm like, Kawhi's kind of just been forgotten about in a way, and part of it's just because the Clippers are not at that point. Paul George has obviously been hurt, but like Kawhi is having the kind of numbers and having the kind of year that you're like, oh, if he did this the whole year, it's not even like a question that Kawhi is like one of the 1A, 1B MVP types. Is that fair? I feel like he's being forgotten.
I mean, I think to a certain point he is. I mean, but like his numbers are good, right? He's played 50 games. He had his first back-to-back this past week. If you look at the numbers across the board, I mean, 23, 6, and just under 4 assists. Not too shabby. The problem is like, and I guess this is the question I pose to you. When you say the MVP conversation, like he's not in the MVP like race, quote unquote, because really just Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, and both have been more available, and I think their peaks have been higher than Kawhi's this year. But then if you're going with the conversation, okay, you have Jokic, of course, you have Embiid. Then what? You want to go Tatum? No, a Giannis. Forget Tatum. Giannis is clearly, in fact, I think he should be in that mix, but like more like he should. It should be a 3-man race in my opinion, and I think for some it is, but it should be in my mind Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. That's one tier. After that, you can throw out a Jason Tatum, and you get a little best player on best team, fine, or one of the best teams, boom, and you can throw out even a DeMontis Sabonis because he has great numbers, and the Kings are top 3 in the West, which has been crazy. So that's another story. And then you kind of get to Kawhi because his numbers are pretty good, but like the Clippers are just kind of meh. You know what I mean? Like I look at him on the outside looking in, almost like I would like a Luka. In the sense, Luka's even worse because the Mavericks aren't even the play in at all. But like good numbers on a team that's not super great, and also when you look at your availability, hasn't been like all the way there. So that's why I say that. But he's really put it on over the last month?
Last 40 games, 26, 6 and 4, 53% from the field, 46% from 3, 89% from the, like here are the so Joe Harris has shot 48% from 3 since the deadline. The only players who have been better than him during that point, from Jack Manuel, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Tyrese Maxey, and Skylar Mace. Like if he was doing this, I understand just the time, but I look at Kawhi in his full year, and if he had done what he's done the last 40 games, which is half the season for this first half, and I don't know if he physically can do that anymore. Maybe that's just part of it. It's just physically he can't do 65 to 75 games of this kind of play and still be healthy and still be ready to go come playoff time. But I look at it, it's like a different kind of MVP where I'm like, this last 40 games of Kawhi Leonard, I'm taking every time over Joel Embiid. I'm taking every time over, a couple of the other ones. He's probably like right there behind Jokic. I mean, you could sell me on like this version of a wing, gets the ball more. I understand Jokic is awesome. Love Jokic.
Embiid just dropped 52.
Yeah, they're trading Embiid in a heartbeat. Daryl Morey is trade like this version of Kawhi Leonard. It's just Kawhi's a different kind of guy.
Gonna be 32.
Both ends. 46% from 3. All-world defender.
40 games. That's good. He's only played 50 this season though. So like, I mean, like that's good.
Just pretty awesome. I don't know. I understand he can't be in the conversation, the games and everything else. I don't know.
Give him his flowers. I'm all for that. Absolutely. And when you said those numbers, like I was like, okay, he's been pretty solid. Looking at his season stats, I didn't look at like extrapolating that in that concentrated amount of time. Like that's really good. But yeah, it's kind of too little, too late, or too much, too late.
Yeah, I guess it's just like at this iteration of Kawhi. Like I was always a Kawhi guy. It's just there aren't many guys in this league who can do what Kawhi can do when he's playing like this, and it makes it look easy. Nekias Duncan had a really good piece outlining where Kawhi is as a player right now on the Basketball News a couple weeks ago that highly encourage people to check out because the dude just gets to his spots and does whatever he wants to do, and he's going to be a tough out regardless of what folks think about the Clippers. This version of Kawhi, if he's healthy like this, is going to be really hard to beat 4 times. The Mavericks fell apart down the stretch. Corban not trying to make the play in. It's over. They still want to re-sign Kyrie. Now we have this stuff coming out this week about they just wanted to sign Jalen Brunson and kind of talking about how much of a mess and that disaster that's been just not having him all year long. They're also just like out of rotation pieces. Like when you watch the Mavs on Mavs Hawks the other night, I'm just like, they are really just down to the bones. Like there's just nothing left on this roster. Like there just isn't. Like it's not even Luka. It's just there's nothing left. They can't get stops. This is a poorly put together team. Man, it's sad, and you're like, okay, well, clearly Christian Wood's gone based on those comments by I think it was Cuban, who was just like, oh, we don't talk about the players, and it was like, but he was like, we're going to resign, or we're going to make a point to resign Kyrie, and then there was like a follow up about Christian Wood or something, and it was like, well, we don't talk about everybody coming back. It was just clearly like there was one of those where it's like you can't say it, but Christian Wood is not going to be back in Dallas. It seems like that's going to be the case. I don't know. What do you make of the current Mavs free fall, and how kind of screwed do you think they are this summer? Because I don't know if it's a quick fix, even if you re-sign Kyrie.
No, I think they're kind of. I think they're in a pickle. I look at. I mean, I don't. For one, I think this idea was doomed to begin with. Right, losing Jalen Brunson was really where the mess started for Dallas. Like everyone's looking, or not everyone, but a lot of people are looking at trading for Kyrie. Listen, trading for Kyrie was like the throw everything, one last ditch effort to see if you could possibly salvage the train running off the tracks. And as it turns out, that's when they realized that they don't have the brakes and that their steering wheel now is crammed in a certain position. Because Kyrie, when he's been playing, has been productive in the offensive end. Defensively, you knew what the guy was when you traded for him. Like hardly a savant on that end. Like nowhere near, even an adequate, I would say barely adequate defender of his own position, much less anything else. You play with Luka, who we already know is not a great defender either. And then, by the way, you trade your best perimeter defender to get Kyrie Irving to fix the hole in your backcourt that you could have had patched up if you just re-signed Jalen Brunson, or if you knew that he was going to just walk in free agency, could have traded him last trade deadline and gotten your reinforcements then. So if we're trying to back up the train of where Dallas, finally is going to the dumpster fire they are now, this goes back to like as far back as last trade deadline. But if we're here now, fine. Looking to the future, you are kind of stuck, right? Because you have a Christian Wood who was mostly productive. Again, not a defender. We knew this when he got signed by Dallas or traded to Dallas. Like that's not what he does. But offensively, he was great. I thought he helped a lot of their lineups. The numbers of him and Luka look pretty good on the offensive end. You wonder why they aren't really optimizing. I've seen Lauren on Twitter talk about that too. Like, yes, he has weaknesses. The whole team has weaknesses, but like you can play to your strengths and look better in doing so. And the Mavericks, for whatever reason, haven't done that. So if I'm Christian Wood, I don't know why I want to come back anyway. Much less if you're Mark Cuban, you're like, oh, we don't talk about all our players, which is like you said, sure. Kyrie, you kind of have to bring back. I mean, one, it's in Kyrie's best interest because the market is pretty tepid at best for a player of Kyrie's caliber right now, and money and baggage in terms of contending teams not having the kind of available cap space or patience necessary to deal with the Kyrie Irving experience. And all the teams that have cap space either don't need Kyrie or it doesn't make sense for Kyrie to go there. So really, it's like these are marriage of convenience between Dallas and Kyrie. Kyrie has as much of a good chance of staying with Dallas for the money that he wants as Dallas does to, make sense of the trade they made for him in the first place. So I think that's set. I just don't know about the rest of it. I mean, what? I mean, all the Mavericks players, Reggie Bullock, a shout out to him buying a private island for what, 2 million, something like that, 2 billion, like
did he?
2 million. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's an official thing.
What do you do
Trying to
with
look
a
at it right
private
now while I'm
island?
here. I don't know. Like, listen, he bought a private island in Belize and named it after himself, 5 acres.
Wow.
Which
I wouldn't want that
fine.
responsibility. I
I
didn't
mean,
like that seems like a lot of upkeep, your own island. Make
yeah,
sure
I mean,
everything's good to
so
go.
does
Is there
having a,
service? How's the service in your own private island? How do you
I
get there?
that's a great question. It's his own private island. I mean, listen, for him, absolutely great. I just wish, like, and he's shooting 30% from three right now. It's great, but like over his last couple of games, it's been kind of rough. I wish he would step up a little later than just the last, half of the season, right? You look at Tim Hardaway Jr. Like he's been up and down this season, and he's another guy who, like Bullock, cannot really create offense for himself. And defensively, they're just okay. Maxi Kleber's kind of overextended right now defensively.
And
Just
he's
come
been
back
gone
from
almost all
serious,
year. Like they
exactly.
just
Just
got him
come
back,
back
yeah.
from a serious tear, and then oh, by the way, stick our best defenders because we have no one else. Like
Yeah.
that's what you're asking him to do. JaVale McGee's on the team and he was promised starting role, and then we barely see him. And he comes in, makes a free throw, misses a free throw for overtime. Like it's so much there for the Mavericks team that just doesn't fit together on Luka. And Luka's effort's also a problem. His complaints to the refs is a problem. His defense has been horrible, and that could just be improved a little bit of effort. But he does shoulder a high offensive load. So I'm just detailing this sprawling mess, and just like, the quicker picker upper that we don't have right now, it's all over the table. Like, where do you begin? You try to placate Luka, but you did
Mm-hmm.
that by trade for Kyrie. You can't really blame Kyrie for the mess, but he didn't actually fix it either. So that's a wash. Your role players that you have right now that are paid a lot to be the middling role players that they are, not working out too well. Defensively, you have no scheme. And by the way, we haven't even got a Jason Kidd, right? Like, his coaching has been, it's kind of been a dumpster fire to me. Like, I mean, I'm not a coach. I'm well aware of that. But, like, come on now. Stevie Wonder could see some of these changes. You know what I mean? So that's just my question. Injuries didn't help either. It's just been a year that they want to forget. But I think when you go into off season, Dallas has to have like a long, hard look at saying, okay, we have real issues. The clock is ticking in terms of Luka's patience, because if he is as anything off the court as he is on it when things don't go his way, y'all don't have a lot of time. And I don't even think that's exaggeration. This isn't like where, people kept trying to get Giannis to leave Milwaukee. Like, this could be an actual thing. So I think Dallas right now is first retain Kyrie. That's what they need to do. That's to validate the trade they made. After that, get some good defenders, some 3-and-D, see what they can get in the draft. I mean, right now, I think there's a mock draft that Adam Spinella did, and the Mavericks lucked into the third pick. And Adam was like, "Hey, they're probably going to trade that if they get that high, because what they get there is they have a lot of depth in this draft class. But if you're looking for a guy to lift you over the top, you might get more trading that pick. So, like, Dallas needs to come into the offseason with a plan of attack, be flexible, but definitely don't sit back like they did last offseason and go, we're okay. Tim Hardaway can bring up the ball. Reggie Bullock can bring up the ball. We only need a point guard. We can get Kemba Walker for 2 weeks. That'll be great. Remember Kemba Walker? That's the thing.
Jaden Hardy still 2 years away. Like, he's good. He's flashy,
good. I
but
like him.
he's just not. I just look at this cap sheet and it's just 50, 60 million to Kyrie and Luka. Just all the depth is gone. Like, there's just nothing to trade. There's nothing to do. I just don't know how you fix this. I mean, I guess you have to go full on Daryl Morey Rockets, right? With Chris Paul and James Harden. That's your best bet. It's just you find 7 Trevor Ariza types to surround these two, and you hope that you can do it. Like, that's just it. I think that's the path. That's the only thing you can do to salvage this era of Luka's time in Dallas. Is just you can't use a 3rd round pick or whatever. You don't have time. Like, Luka's not gonna wait around 2 to 3 years for him to be a really good player. Like, they're gonna have to make serious moves now and just spend extremely well on just the bare minimum guys, those older vets, and just hope that enough of them pop to keep this thing afloat, because you gave up Dinwiddie, you gave up Dorian Finney-Smith for Kyrie. Like, that, those are 2 incredibly important role pieces that were playing well for you, and it's just you can't just lose Kyrie and Jalen Brunson back-to-back years for nothing. You can't do that. It's just
inexcusable.
I mean, then you're at the point where it's like you might as well just trade Luka, because there's no path at that
You
point.
failed. Move on.
Right? Like, there's just nowhere else to go. Obviously they would never do that. I wouldn't do it. I would go out of the sinking ship as well with Luka, but it looks pretty doom and gloom for Dallas over the next couple of years. They're gonna have to be very, very creative, and I'm just not certain that is going to happen here. Are we sure Jrue Holiday isn't a first team All NBA player?
Listen, I can't argue. I can't really argue that. Jrue Holiday's been on a tear. Been a big reason, why Milwaukee's been where they are, in terms of supremacy in the East. Had a career high in points this season. The same normal lockdown defense they brings to the table. Been more than a serviceable, floor general for these guys. Like, like Jrue Holiday is the real deal. I think just looking at his numbers, I mean, the only thing I'd worry about is the competition he's going with. But, like, come on, he deserves a spot here. Like, you're having a career year at what, 32? You know what I mean? Which is basically what's happening right now. Like, that's some wildness. In
It's
Chicago?
not flashy, but I was going through just different measurables where I'm just like, this guy, he's second in the NBA win probability at it. There's only Jokic in front of him. Like, you watch the Bucks. That's the other part of it. Is just you have to watch the Bucks with and without him. Jrue has gotten so much better. And I mean, he's always been a good player, but like, he is an all-star, extremely good player who has kept this thing going without Chris Middleton for the majority of the year. And he doesn't get enough credit for that, where like a lot more has been on his shoulders. You mentioned he's 32. Like, Jrue Holiday is not going to get first team All NBA. I hope he just at least makes one of the All NBA teams. But like, this dude, I think, has had one of the more unbelievable seasons from a guard who many of us were just like, he's good third guy. He's fine. He does his job. He's just a really good vet. Does a lot of things well. Obviously a great defender. Just has shot the ball a lot better since getting to Milwaukee and stuff. But like, Jrue's really good. Like, Jrue's not just like a solid role player. Like, Jrue is an actual all-star. Like, Jrue is actually somebody who they cannot lose and is just an incredibly important person to what might be the title favorites coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, like what are his holes?
Yeah.
I don't see him. Over the season with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 47% from the field, 38 from 3, 86 from the line. Against Chicago this past week, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 15 assists, 47% from the floor, 50% from deep. Like, he is playing his career numbers, his season numbers all season long. Like you said, he's been stepping up in place of Middleton. He's been the main guy alongside Giannis or for Giannis for some of these Bucks wins. Like, he has put it on. He brings the playmaking that's really grown, I think, a lot, right? The shooting, which has been something that's picked up as well, like you said, in Milwaukee. The overall scoring package, defensively, the dude's always been a monster. So you put all that together, I put him over Kawhi in the MVP comp. I'm just kidding. But, like, honestly, like, I mean, if you're going to, I'm saying in terms of numbers, career year, and better team success, and he being a big reason why that's the case, we're not doing this. But if we were to extend the MVP conversation out to like 10 to 12, and maybe even sooner than that. But the point being, yeah, he definitely should be. I don't know if he will. There is a lot of depth in that guard spots. Whether or not they're as deserving, there's a lot of worthy, talent there. But
are there 5 better guards than him? Or I shouldn't say it that way. Are there 5 guards who've had better seasons than Jrue Holiday has had, and the impact that Jrue Holiday has actually had on a team that is first in the East and the title favorites?
I mean, I'm trying to think of guards right now. Only one pop in my head is one I know is better this year. That's De'Aaron Fox, right?
But has he had a better season than Jrue?
De'Aaron Fox has been big. I mean, better season, I guess, is all semantics, but like, he's been huge for them. His clutch numbers are off the roof. You look at the success Sacramento's had and him being a driver of that success. I at least put them on par. I mean, I would say that he has less help. I mean, Sabonis is nice, like, yes, but he's not Giannis.
Here are the 6 from last year.
Okay.
First team was Devin Booker and Luka Doncic.
Those 2 are still in there.
Has Devin played enough? How many games has Devin Booker missed this year?
I think he's played more than Kawhi. Let me see his stats real quick.
He's definitely played more than Kawhi.
Yeah, Kawhi's played 50, right? Devin Booker's played 52.
So they're right there. I was gonna say it wasn't a lot. Like, Booker's quietly missed a lot of games.
No, you're right.
So that's a lot of time.
I mean, you look at the numbers this season. I mean, what? Well, for this year, 28, 4, and 5. That's gonna pop out. 28, 4, and 5, just under 50% shooting, just around 35% from 3.
Yeah.
67
games for Jrue, so he's probably gonna finish around 70, which is good.
That's solid.
He hits the number, that new 65 threshold. Trae Young and Chris Paul were 3rd team All-NBA. Trae's not making that.
And neither is Chris
Paul. Steph Curry and Ja were 2nd team. Steph's missed a bunch of time. Obviously, Ja missed some time. I think Ja still probably get first team. He has to get first team still, right?
I still think he can. He might slide to 2nd, but like, honestly, even with all the nonsense surrounding him, like the numbers and the production,
it should be Luka and Ja, right? I feel like Luka and Ja is my one too.
Yeah.
But then 2nd team, I think Jrue belongs somewhere on 2nd team.
I'm with it.
Jrue and Steph. Steph is clear first team if he's healthy, but he's just missed too many games.
He has, and while Drew's numbers don't pop off like Steph's would when healthy, his numbers have been very productive, very solid, and they're on par. I would say 2nd team makes sense to me.
There you go. I think that would shock a lot of people. Like, a lot of schools would be like, Jrue Holiday, 2nd team All NBA. Like, what? Like, no, Jrue Holiday is actually that good. Speaking of guys who are pretty good, and it's important to get a guy like him back. Return of Andrew Wiggins for Golden State. Does his return shape how you see this going for the Warriors come playoff time? Because no team outside of the top 3, outside of one of the last 46 champions, were outside of the top 3 seeds in NBA Finals history. Warriors are not going to be a top 3 seed, it looks like. So they've just obviously been a jumbled mess with different injuries, different outside factors, and just hope the best for Andrew and his family. And I like that continues progressing in the right direction. But like, him being back at this point, I still feel like it's a little too late for me.
Interesting.
Now, does that mean I don't think they can beat the Kings in a round 1 series? No, I do. I think they can win a first round series there.
Yeah.
Do I think they can run the gauntlet though and really do all that and just get this all together and make it? But I don't. Like, they have a lot of tread. They obviously went through it all last year. They won the title last year. I think it's really hard to go back to back already. I think it's just even going to be more difficult this year, but the West is wide open. That's a lot more helpful. The East is not even like the East. The hierarchy is very clear. The West, the hierarchy could not be more murkier, even though I think the Nuggets deserve a lot more credit for how good they are than they get to this point, especially with their healthy, because there's no one in the West that has a 5-man unit as dominant as and strong as the Nuggets with their group with KCP, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Jokic, and I'm blanking on the third guy. Or who am I missing? Who did I
What,
just
Michael
say?
Porter?
Oh, Michael Porter. Yes, I always forget Michael Porter. Future
Yeah.
Hawk, Michael Porter Jr.
Oh wow.
Trey's best friend. Yeah, no, they're always together. Like that was the thing. All that being said, where are you at with the return of Wiggins, and are you a bigger believer now in what the Warriors can be with his return?
Yeah, I totally am. I think you look at this Warriors team; it's a wide open West. Warriors won it last year. Like, if anyone knows what it takes to get there, they do, right? Their bench isn't as strong. Well, you're in the playoffs. You're not going to play your bench as much, right? So I think you got your championship experience. You traded back one of your players who was key for last season in Gary Payton, who is just now getting back to relative health. After all that happened. So I think Wiggins kind of fills the one. Not that the Warriors don't have other holes, but like they had a gaping hole in terms of wing defending, right?
Mm.
And you're in a Western Conference, you're gonna go through one of LeBron, Kawhi, PG, KD, right? Brandon Ingram to a lesser extent, Anthony Edwards, these type of wing guys, and the Warriors really didn't have a player that I felt really comfortable, defending them for the long haul, especially when you get your superstar tiers. Like, yeah, KD's still going to score on
Mm.
Wiggins. Now, Wiggins can make it more difficult, but KD's going to get his. Say the same with LeBron. I mean, say the same with all the guys I mentioned. But Wiggins makes it at least a little more difficult in a way that Anthony Lamb doesn't, or Dante DiVincenzo is a little undersized, even though, he definitely tries. And Draymond can't guard everybody in terms of your scoring front court guys. And on those teams I mentioned, Paul George has a Kawhi. KD, there is an Aiden. LeBron, he has an Anthony Davis. So there is another guy there that, again, Draymond's already going to be kind of stretched too thin. And Klay Thompson, yeah, he can take some minutes there, but long term, he's not that guy anymore, right? So I think Wiggins helps there. Apparently he's been reported he's still been working out and staying in shape during this time. So it's not like he has to shape off any rust. He's been playing with the team for 2-3 years now, so he has some continuity there. Yeah, I think why not? Give him a couple of games to kind of get acclimated just in the game reps before the season. It's not like he's missed all year. He's missed 20 games, but so is Devin Booker, so is Kawhi. Like, you know what I mean? Just a different reason. Get him back going, and I think the Warriors have as good a chance as any. I mean, all these teams here, every team has weaknesses. The Nuggets, I just don't know how playoff proven they are, come the second round. The Grizzlies, if the game gets to a half court attack, where do the Grizzlies go? The Kings, we know that they do not play defense, right? But it's going to be some fun to watch. The Suns, their bench is paper thin, and not even like paper thin like, your 9-10 man, but like 7-8 for offense if you're going to have KD and Booker out there. I can go down the list of every other team and the weaknesses. The Warriors fit right in that mix. So I don't think that bringing Wiggins back vaults them to the top, but it definitely makes them, in my mind, a worthy fit for the mix, where if he wasn't there, I'd be like, okay, I'm looking at them like I'm looking at the Thunder. Like, they could get in, but like, really?
Yeah, the only thing I'm certain about is whoever wins the West is not winning the title. That's the only thing I'm certain about. Is I just think whoever wins the bloodbath between the Celtics and the Bucks is the title champ. Like, that's who it is. It's whoever wins that bloodbath in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're just far and away better. I trust them more. My gut says the Bucks win. I said before the year I had the Bucks win the title.
That's wild. I have the Lakers, so I'm going to walk that all the way back for now. Who knows?
I mean, this turned around for you. I really thought the season was over.
I told you, I told everyone who would listen, and some of it was blind faith. I will say that. But I said trade deadline, the Lakers are going to make it right. They have to make it right. And you know what? Maybe too little too late. That 2-10 start was pretty brutal. Getting to where they are now is pretty rough. And the injuries to LeBron and AD are always an issue, right? But I said,
who would you rather get? Would you rather get Nuggets or Grizzlies in round 1?
That's tough because Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis would be really fun, right?
Mm.
And I feel like the Lakers wouldn't necessarily have the Lakers and Nuggets would be interesting. I actually would like the Lakers in that matchup, but I'm gonna go Grizzlies more.
When you say you like the Lakers in that matchup, you would pick
Mm-hmm.
an upset over the Nuggets in that matchup.
I probably would.
Oh wow!
I
This
mean,
reminds me of
it's
the
been,
Lakers Suns from a couple years ago, where people are like,
but the Suns were up 2. Lakers were up 2-1 before AD got injured. Like
Mhm.
barring injury, when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the basketball court, that presents a significant problem for your best defenses.
Mhm.
The Nuggets, they're okay defensively. I will take AD on who's going to guard him, like consistently, right? Jokic, what Porter? I'm trying to go through my mind of all
I
the
mean, I
bigs they
guess it
have.
would be Aaron Gordon, right?
Aaron Gordon. Well, who's guarding LeBron? KCP or Michael Porter or one of your
Yeah,
undersized wings. Christian Brown might get some time,
Bruce
but that's
Brown
not
can't
Bruce
really.
Brown. Not really, kind of
Yeah.
small. You know what I mean? Like, and that might give an opening for a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who could break out a little bit.
Yeah.
On offense again like that. So I would like the Lakers in that matchup. Yeah, Jokic's going to cause the Lakers problems, cause everyone problems. But like,
Hmm.
I think this Lakers team is a different version of the 2020 team that beat that Nuggets team, and they're a fun group in terms of like style of play, and they are contenders. Not like they're no joke, but I'm just saying matchup wise, AD and LeBron are matchup issues in my mind for the Nuggets. But I'm going to take the Grizzlies actually because defensively, I think the Nuggets can cause the Lakers. I mean, offensively, the Nuggets can cause the Lakers some issues. Their offense is really good. They play through Jokic, see how they go. Their off-ball action. The individual shot making of a Jamal Murray, of a Michael Porter, of what Jokic can do inside, outside. That's all a mess. That's the Lakers are a better defensive team. That's still a lot to deal with. For the Grizzlies, it's just a little bit easier. John Morant's going to give you some problems, absolutely. He's going to cause just as many problems on the other side. Remember last year, Pat Beverly went on like a mini 10-0 run on him. Like defensively, John's going to give it right back, right? Jaren Jackson Jr., very good defender. Always in foul trouble, though. I could totally see that being a thing. And again, the Grizzlies.
I think you'd rather have the Nuggets. There's just a lot more pressure on the Nuggets. Like they don't want all the pressure is there because I think it's Michael Malone is coaching for his job at that point. Like they have to make the finals probably for him to stay on.
That's why I don't want them though.
No, you want that. You want the pressure on because it's like they don't want to play the Lakers. I think
they're a well-oiled machine too. The Grizzlies, they're good. I'm not gonna down.
Grizzlies are getting healthy at the right time. They're starting to figure some stuff out. I don't know, man. I think the Grizzlies would stomp the Lakers. I think the Grizzlies would stomp. I would love to. I think they would stomp.
No, I don't see that.
Who is guarding Ja in this series?
Who is Ja guarding?
I mean, D'Angelo Russell. It's fine, or whoever. Austin Reeves. He can run around with Austin Reeves.
No, I'm
not. Are you
not
starting Austin Reeves in that series?
Yes. I am not high on John Morant as a defender. John Morant's going to get his points. He got them against Golden State.
Yeah.
He did. But who won the series?
I also think Jaren Jackson would be fine. I think Jaren would be fine on Anthony.
Jaren Jackson is no. I love his defensive ability, but his foul thing is a real deal. And Anthony Davis usually has a good time. Like Jaren Jackson gets his blocks and stuff, and then Anthony Davis gets his numbers. I'm trying to see Anthony Davis' numbers against the Grizzlies real quick while I'm talking, just because I'm intrigued by this. Okay, so here we go. I do have them. Thank you, StatMuse. So
I was just going to StatMuse too.
I love that we got the same group think here.
That's funny.
But no, so he had 30 and 22 points, 30 points, 22 rebounds on March 7th. February 28th, 28 points and 19 rebounds. Then a couple of games of 22 and 8, 22 and 8, 35 and 9, 27 and 10. And now we're going to 2021. I'm just not seeing an issue with and on good efficiency too. 16 and 20. 9 and 19, 11 to 17 from the field. Getting to the free throw line decently enough. He had 13 free throw attempts in February, 10 of 13, 7 of 9 in March. And that's just AD. And mind you, in March, I think they play without LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not even talking about LeBron. And yeah, Dylan Brooks will be fun. That'll be a good back and forth. And who else is guarding LeBron?
Well, is Shannon Sharp allowed at these games?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's going to be fun. You make a good point. I'm going to go and really think about this. But if I were the Lakers right now, I think you come out of a team right now that the Grizzlies are getting right at the right time, but the Lakers are coming with that desperation, whereas the Nuggets are going to also come with that same desperation and pressure on their own end. And you're right, they probably don't want to face the Lakers, but I think matchup-wise, I don't know. I'd rather the Lakers get up to speed and gel, get a first round, and then go into Denver. Then be like, all right, cool, playing tournament, now the Nuggets. Because Yeah, you're right. Lakers, I'd still feel okay about it, but I don't know if I feel like great about it.
That's fair. Uh, Brandon Ingram, your old friend.
Love him.
He's really come out of a shell. What have you seen from Brandon Ingram the last few weeks? And how do you think he's turned the corner and made this Pelicans team a little bit more dangerous come play in time?
I don't know if he's made them more dangerous. I think he's just come back to his own form, right? That toe injury, we don't know how significant it was. And from what it looks like, it seemed like it held him out, obviously, for a large chunk of the season. But also when he came back and played, he didn't look right when he first came back, in my own estimation. So I think he's finally getting back to his normal, healthy self. You know what I mean? 36 points against Clippers.
Not
Really
shooting threes. Some of these stat
No.
lines where he just has like 36 points and he doesn't take a three.
He's taken, 6 threes in his last 3 games? 3 of
That's
6.
insane.
1 of 2 against the Kings, 1 of 4 against the Grizzlies. Like, it's really kind of crazy, and I'm not really sure what the issue is there, but also I like the uptick in assists.
Yeah.
He's been more of a
And he's
playmaker.
getting to the line. Like,
Yep.
if you're not shooting threes, you better be getting to the
Gotta
line
get to
at
the
a high
line, and
clip.
he's being a good distributor of the ball. 24 points and 13 assists against the Grizzlies. 36 points, 4 and 8 assists against Clippers, and then 22, 7 and 6. Like he's being the kind of hub that the Pelicans are gonna need, because CJ's been solid. But like, he's not that guy to kind of consistently go to again. He's just, that's not his player, and that's fine. It's still a very good basketball player. But also without Zion and the update, not updated all that was given earlier today by David Griffin. Like, why waste our time with that, by the way? Real quick pause. I have to say something about that, Chase. Like,
Ooh.
I have an update about me doing a pod on the Chase Thomas show tomorrow. I don't have any information on that right now. I'll tell you more later. That's my update.
Okay.
So you don't have an update. Like, that's not an update. Like, if I have to tell you that I don't have anything to tell you, like, then there it is. Like, there's nothing to say at this time. So why are you saying it? That's just my question. I thought it was a waste of time, and it just brings it was stupid to me. Just forget David Griffin. I'm not a big fan of him. Anyway, going back to, I'm just not. I think, look, you drafted Zion. Congratulations. Like, you made the trade that, AD was going to go to no other team but the Lakers, and you got a really good package from it, one of which is Brandon Ingram, and Zion and some of these other guys, and mind you, I'll give you some credit, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, of course, Herb Jones, like, great, but like, okay. Anyway, going aside from that, like, Brandon Ingram's been better, and I think he's getting back to his normal career averages and is a solid player. We know he's an all-star level player in that conversation. Does it make them better? I mean, they were so less than whole. Yes, just by bringing him back, it makes them better. But what is that ceiling? Again, it's another year without Zion potentially in the playoffs. Again,
I think we can say not even potentially. Like, Zion is not going to be there.
Okay, we can say, until they rule him out. I don't want to, but you're right. Like, it's been, you can say.
What is the stat on how many games he's played to this point in New Orleans?
I wonder if it's over, under. I wonder if has he played more games than Kawhi this season? No, of course not.
No, not even close.
Not even nearly. He's played 30 games, I want to say.
I think 30 is generous. Like, what has he done?
Oh, he's played 29. Ooh,
I was going to say, I didn't think he made 30.
114 games over 3 seasons. Oh, my bad, over 4 seasons. 114 games. So just over a whole 82. So a year and a half spread over 4 years. 24 games in season 1. His healthiest season was season 2. He played 61 games. Season 3 missed all of it. And now season 4, 29 games. Mind you, he's playing, his career average is 32 minutes a game. So it's not like you can say, you're pushing him up. It's just unfortunate injury luck, and some of that is on him.
26, 8, and 4 right away. Like, the game is so easy.
If he was to retire right now, 26-7, yeah, like you said, 25-7 and 3.5 are his stat line. That's on 60, 34, 69.
But he was doing that as a rookie. Like, he's doing that like immediately out of the gate. Like, there was no transition. He was just fine. Like, he was just great. Madness. That's why it sucks. And I don't know what I would do. It's easier for me to say from the outside, but at a certain point, it's like, what are you building here? Like, what is the point of any of this? Like, you have so many fun, deep bench guys with Alvarado, Herb Jones, and company, but like, you're not going anywhere with CJ and Brandon. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is the actual, like, you need to have like a full-on conversation. And does he become a villain though if he does get traded this offseason and then he plays like 65, 70 games next year immediately?
I think somebody in bad faith would make him a villain, but it's not really his fault in my opinion.
Do we know?
Like he's had control. I feel like we do. I feel like we do. I feel like if you look at him, like, Kawhi would have been more of a villain, in my opinion. Because some of that was management. He's always so close to the vest about his injuries and stuff. But that's fine. You have a right to doing that. But I'm saying the way it was cast, you can make that case for him. Zion looks like he wants to play. It's not like it's Zion's fault.
But I think Kawhi gets the benefit of the doubt because Kawhi won a title. And Kawhi actually did it. Like, he's won what, two titles?
Yep. Well, the Spurs won one, and he was on the team. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. But
Well,
no,
he played a little bit.
no,
He didn't start, but
he
he
played
played.
heavy. He was a
Yeah.
significant contributor to that team. I was being facetious,
Yeah.
but no.
Wasn't that the
Aside from
year
that,
where he checked in and LeBron like is at the
that
free throw
is
line? It's just
2014 Finals
Mm.
because he was giving LeBron problems back then. Like he was that guy.
That
He
was
didn't
9
become,
years ago.
which is insane to think about. First of all, that LeBron is still doing this, probably still saying the same
Mhm.
thing. Although he scored on pretty good last night. Anyways,
Mhm.
moving right along. Yeah, I don't know. I think that he's come back to form. Good to see. You want to see
Mhm.
a healthy player. I don't know if it changes the Pelicans' prospects that much. I doubt they make it out of the first round. In fact, I don't
Yeah.
doubt they won't. If they get there, they won't make it.
Yeah, what's the plan right now? If it ended today, there's 3 games left from those teams. Okay, so it'd be Timberwolves Thunder for 9-10, Lakers Pels 7-8, which is great. Obviously, the AD factor there. Lakers
hmm
probably win that.
I see us
And
winning that,
so then it's Memphis. You're getting Memphis in round 1.
and I'd be okay with that.
And then if you're Denver,
Who does
I
Denver
think
play?
you'd rather get the Pelicans than the Wolves. Like, I don't think I would want Anthony Edwards, Gobert, and Karl Anthony Towns if I can avoid it. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
you're winning either, but like I don't. Anthony Edwards playoff. Anthony Edwards. Is there another like? I don't know. I would be a little bit more concerned about that one. A little bit. Not concerned to the point of like if you're trying to win the title, you should win 4-0, 4-1 against anybody, Thunder, whoever. But I don't
I
know.
agree. It'd
So it
be
looks like Memphis Lakers is happening probably.
yeah. It's looking like that is a thing. I mean, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch, fun to break down. Both teams gonna give each other issues. I don't know. Maybe watch that be. I say this now, and then that become the John Morant playoff coming out party, like in a major way.
It's
And it lives
possible.
on. It is. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying like watch it happen with my luck talking them up. But then again, I've said the Lakers are gonna make big changes come trade deadline, and I'm like Nostradamus right now. So
You're so happy about the Lakers. This is
it's
I,
a smile. Listen, a smile on my face. Thank you, King. Right.
this is funny. Like you're basically in the same spot as me with the Hawks. Like the Hawks have obviously won 3 straight here to finally get out of mediocrity for a little bit.
It's the
But
Eastern
like
Conference Finals appearance, don't you? Exactly.
no.
I'm playing.
No, because like I said, I was telling folks where I'm like, if they were able to get in the 6th seed, then you could talk me back into this season. Like if you give me the Sixers and just the Sixers having to sweat out an early series against the
Mhm.
Hawks, and yeah, you could talk me into that.
They're just so
The
average.
Bucks and the Celtics are stomping either. Like
Yeah, it's not even gonna be hard.
no.
It'll be like those old Milwaukee Pistons matchups like 3 years
Mhm.
ago, or Toronto Orlando when Orlando kept getting into the eighth seed. We're like, why
Charlotte,
Orlando?
Miami.
Or Charlotte, Miami, those that are almost painful to watch because,
Mhm.
like, yeah, you got there, but like, at what cost? Like to
Yeah.
be just embarrassed on national television on NBA TV at 2 o'clock on a Saturday,
At least they're
like,
figuring out stuff. Like AJ Griffin's a good player. Like there's now a Hawks. Like my Hawks group chat is just chaos because we're all arguing about like there's now 2 camps where I'm in the Sadiq Bey and AJ Griffin are the long term 3 and 4 on this team. And then there's the other camp where it's like Jalen because he's had these last 2 really good games and Jalen's been good.
mhm.
And DeAndre Hunter, who again is going to finish up with around 50 games played this year because DeAndre Hunter, man, is always unavailable, and he turns 26 next year. Like it's over. Like the DeAndre Hunter being consistent and being available when you need him most, that ship
I
has
think
sailed.
it's yeah, it was a nice run, but I also don't think that's something that's a thing
He's not worth
consistent.
the money. Like he's just not available enough. He's just not that guy. And you just locked in Bogey. So I'm like, no, but the group chat, they're like, no, they're all in on Jalen being the long term for starting next year and keeping DeAndre. And I'm like, no, I want AJ and Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey with this spacing, the team is so much better when he is playing the 4 with Capella and Yeka.
He's comfortable.
He is. It's just a better looking group. I like the lineup of AJ, Sadiq, Capella, Trey, and DeJounte. And then obviously Bogey with different variations of that. But
hmm
I don't know. Quinn showed some stuff. I think they got 8 or 9 guys so they can figure stuff out. They'll see what happens with John Collins this offseason. Maybe Clint Capella's not back next year because at some point you have to give more time to Nyeka. But Nyeka hasn't shown enough to be like handed the keys as the
Yeah.
long-term 5. Like he's going like 2 of 8 sometimes at the rim, and you're like, what are you doing? Like
Hey, what are you doing, bro?
Nyeka has some crazy stat lines, and he has some great. I mean, he's just so. I I love Nyeka, but I don't know. It's still like has not shown enough to just hand over the keys. Like Capella still is a great rebounder, great shot player. He just obviously has chemistry with Trey. I don't know. I don't know what to do
He's
with Hawks.
2 years away from what's his name?
Bruno
Bruno
Caboclo.
Caboclo? Yeah, Bruno Caboclo. There you go. 2 years away from 2 years away.
Man, but they need to make a decision on him soon. He's another one because you've
They
paid
do.
a lot of dudes, and Onyeka, it's coming up. He's
Yeah,
quietly
time to pay the
been.
piper.
We'll see. Corban Ford, what can the good folks check out from you across the internet this week?
I appreciate you as always, Chase, having me on. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Corban NBA if you are so inclined. More Twitter than Instagram, not really super active there. I have a new show called Roster Reconstruction.
Mm.
So that is a fun one. I'm gonna have some fun guests coming on here over the next couple of weeks talking NBA draft. I'm also doing a multi-part series where I am ranking, with my friends Josh Erlin and Garrett Bouguet, ranking the NBA front offices. So we did from 30 to 21, and then I think next week we'll do 20 to 11 and the 10 to 1. So it's a new show all about the three main tenets of team building: trades, free agency, and the draft, and exploring that, some concepts, some historical analysis, all of that. So it's really cool. Roundabout Ramble, I'm still going to reshape it, figure out how it fits. I might bring it back during the playoffs, so stay tuned on that. And aside from that, I have a piece on coming out, actually, by the time we record this, on Switch Theory. I have a
Okay.
piece coming out it's a long read, but it is detailing, I don't know if you remember Bob Whitsitt. Trader Bob. He was the general manager of the Portland Trail Blazers from 1994 to like 2002 during the Jailblazers period.
Yeah.
And I dove into his team roster construction philosophy, went into almost all of his 75 trades that he did during that time.
Oh, wow.
And detailed like the rise and the fall, and also
You're like
Switch Theory
Ruben
teams.
Patterson. This was like David
Yep,
Stoudemire. Let's
all
just
of
name some
that.
guys. Yeah.
All of that. You said it. So that's gonna drop soon. So probably as I record this, it'll come out.
There you go.
The graphics team on Swiss Theory are amazing. They've done some really cool, detailed kind of pictographs and stuff to showcase it. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to everyone reading that.
That's awesome. I'm excited. So go check that out. Send it to me, and I'll read
Appreciate
it
you.
and all that good stuff. And Corban, you have yourself a great rest of your night, and I will talk to you very soon.
Yes, sir. As always.
Well done, nephew. Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.